Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video, we understood about the strings and different concepts related to strings. Now in this video, we will understand numbers. So strings are basically the name, surname and everything, but numbers are basically the age, phone numbers, zip codes, all of the different things that are attached to it. So how do we store numbers and how do we manipulate numbers inside the Python? We will understand that in this particular video. So we will understand three things: types of numbers available in Python, basic arithmetic and object assignment in Python. So types of numbers. Python has various types of numbers. We mainly focus on the integer and the floating point because those are the types of numbers we'll be mainly using. So we have two things. One is the integer and second is a float. Integers are basically any numbers you see without decimal point, which can be 1, 2, minus 5, 100, 1000, minus 100, anything that does not have decimal point. What is the meaning of decimal point? Something called as 100.2. So the point 2 is the decimal point. So integer value does not have any decimal point. On the other hand, float values have some kind of decimal point. So this is the only difference. As you can see it over here, integers are the whole numbers, positive or negative. For example, 2 minus 2 are the integers. Floating point numbers in the Python are notable because they have decimal points in them, or use exponential e to define the number. So if you have any scientific number, this can be also considered as the floating point. So for example, 2.0, 2.1, minus 2.1, for example, these are the floating point. Or like 4e2, 4 times 10 to the power of 2 is also an example of the floating point number. So we have two types. One is the integer and second is the floating point. So let's just start the basic arithmetic. So one of the fun thing about Python is that you can use it as a calculator. So if I want to do like 2 plus 1, this will give me 3. If I want to do like 3 plus 6, this will give me 9. If I do 4 minus 2, this will give me 2. If I do 4 into 2, this will give me 8. 4 into 2 is basically 8. 4 into 3, this will give me 12. 4 divided by 2, this will give me 2. Now this is giving me as a floating point. If I do double backslash, this will give me as integer. Let me just do this. Okay, if I do type type, you can just get the type of the particular variable or the numbers. This will give me the integer. If I just remove one backslash, this will give me float. Okay, as you can see it over here. Let me just remove this. We have addition, print 2.2 plus 1. We have like subtraction, 2 minus 1, 2 into 2 giving me 4, 3 by 2 is giving me 1.5. So these are the basic arithmetic operation. This is like the high school mathematics we already know. Now if I want to do power, so 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to 2, I can also do like double star over here. If I do this, this will give me 2 raised to 3, which is basically 8. If I do 2 raised to 2, this will give me 4. If I do 2 raised to 4, this will give me 16. So now let's look at the order of operations followed in the Python. So if I run this, this will give me 105. So the way Python executes this entire calculation is from the left to right and giving the precedence to the brackets. So we don't have any brackets over here, so this will ignore that. Then it will look for the division or the multiplication sign. So over here we have the multiplication first. This will multiply first, which is basically 100, and then it will look for the other signs such as addition or the subtraction, and then we have like 3 plus 2, which is giving us 105. But if you use the parenthesis, which is basically the bracket, this will give us something else, which is this will first do the 10 plus 2, which is 12, and then multiplication, and this will also do the 10 plus 3, which is 13. 12 into 13 is 156. So this will give us the output according to that. So this is how precedence works inside the Python. We have parentheses, then we have exponent, and then we have some other operators such as unary. You don't have to worry about this. Then we have multiplication, divisions, and then we have some other operations. So all you have to understand is the basic operations such as parentheses, then we have the multiplication and division, and then we have addition and the subtraction. So over here I've also given one of the exercises that you can do it by yourself to understand this. Now let's understand the variable assignment for integer numbers. So now that we have seen numbers in Python as a calculator, let's see how we can assign names and create a variables. So there are a few rules when we want to create a variable. First of all, names cannot start with a number. So you cannot start a variable name something like 3 4 Tarshit. This is not right. Okay, so you can't do that. You can start with the numbers. You cannot have any spaces between variables. You can't assign something like this. Okay, this will give you the error because you have a space in between, and you can't use any of these symbols available inside the variable. So you can use underscore, this will work, but you can't use such as dollar sign, this will give you the error because it is not allowed. So these are the basic rules of declaring a variable. So you can do something like this tertial, you can do uh, this, you can do, let's say, count, okay, but you can't do something like this, or you can't do something like this, or you can't do something like, let's say, this. Okay, all of these things will give you the error. So make sure you define the variable name properly. So let's do the same thing that we did on the top, but using the variable. So let's assign a value 5 to the variable a. Okay, now if I call a plus a in my Python script, this will give me the 10 because the value of a is assigned 5, and if I do the a plus a, this will give me the 10. I can use directly the variable instead of writing multiple times. I can just use the variable name and get the final output. Now what happens if I reassign a is equal to 10? What will be the output? Can you guys tell? This will be 20 because first we assigned value 5 to the a. Now we again executed our code and assigned the new value to the a. So our a's value is actually 10. That is the reason we are getting 20. Now if I run this a is equal to 5, and if I run this a plus a, this will give me the 10. But if I again run this assign value a with a 10, this will build a 10 and this will give me the 20. So it's your turn. Okay, given the number of store variable a and b, can you write a sample code to compute the mean of two numbers and assign it to the variable mean? So all you have to do is print the average of two numbers a and b. This is basically called as a mean. So a plus b divided by count. So this is again high school mathematics. You can try it by yourself. If you don't know, you can double click the solution and get the out. So this was all about numbers. I hope you understood the basics of numbers. So till now what we did is we understood the strings and the numbers. Now in the next video what we will be doing, we will be understanding the data types and different data structures available inside the Python. So I hope you understood the numbers. If you have any questions, you can just ask in the comment section and I will try to reply you. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.